Hello and welcome to the Windows Active Directory Expert. If you are new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe, like and share the video with someone who really needs your help in order to scale up in the Active Directory. So in the previous session, we discussed about the domain join issue, like what type of logs we can refer in order to troubleshoot the domain join issue, and I illustrated you for one of the error messages. I tried to kind of help you with the proper approach that you can take place whenever you get any domain join issue. So since I promised you that I will come up with the another session, recording session for the metadata cleanup. So I'm here again, back with my promise. So in this session we are going to cover the metadata cleanup, like how we can do the metadata cleanup and what is the purpose, why we do metadata cleanup. Okay. So let's type it here, metadata cleanup. If you are the AD administrator, you must be very familiar with this metadata. All right, it's very often we use this word in the environment. So the first option is from GUI and second option is from CMD. So from GUI option we have to go to three places. Okay. So the first would be your domain controller OU, in which we have to clear or delete the zombie domain controller from this particular OU. And the second place we have to go to the site and services. So in the site and services, like since you are aware, right, whenever we promote any domain controller, while the promotion of the domain controller, if you have a multiple site, right, so we can choose the appropriate site to promote the domain controller. If you don't have any, so there is by default site first name being created whenever we promote any domain controller, the first domain controller in the environment, and afterwards whatever the domain controller you promote in the environment, those would be by default added to the default site first name. So just kind of keep in your mind, so that I mean these questions are being very often asked in the interviews. Okay. So the second place is to delete this object from site and services, and the third option is you have to go to DNS, you have to go for the forward lookup zone, and go to your domain name, domain FTDN, and delete it. So I will show you all the three places in my lab. Okay, so let me open my lab real quick for you. So this is my server 2012 R2 machine. So the machine currently on which I'm logged in right now, okay, where I'm demonstrating you, this is Win191 VN6 VN97Q. So this machine holds all Pismo roles, all 5 Pismo roles in this machine. Okay. So another machine which I got is WinADC01, which is my server 2008 R2 machine, which does not hold or keep any of the roles. I have not transferred any of the role to this domain controller. The role transfer and the seizure and what all 5 roles responsibilities are, I would be covering in the separate session. So don't worry, just bear with me. Okay. So the first place would be your domain controller OU, which I just demonstrated you. So you have to open the dsa.msc, expand your contoso.com, I mean your domain name, go to domain controller OU and look for that object, right click and delete. Click on yes, so it will delete the object from here. And after that you have to open the site and services. So let me open site and services. I'll show you. There must be an object being created and added to the site default site first name. Okay. So let me go here, type sites. So here we got Active Directory site and services. So let me open the site and services real quick. Let's wait for that site and services to appear. Okay, perfect. So I got this screen of site and services now. So look, this is the same site, right? And this is the default one, default first site name. If I click here, if I go under the server, I got two servers, and they both must having the connection with each other, because there are only two domain controllers, right? So whatever the information is there in my PDC, so that is ADC who just pull the information from that server, and same vice versa. Okay. So, so the first place I showed you, you have to clear, you have to delete it from here. The second place would be you right click here in the object, connection object, not the connection object, I mean to your server itself, right click and click on delete, click on yes, so it will delete it from here. So the third place, let's open the DNS and let's expand the forward lookup zone, then go to your contoso.com and then click on the contoso.com, and here you must have somewhere the IP address of the another domain controller, which is a host record. And when you have an integrated DNS in the environment, so whatever the domain controller you promote, by default those domain controller would be added to the name server. So maybe this console has not been updated, I mean there is that console did not refreshed. So let me open the DNS management console real quick again. So if I go here under the name server, so you will see, right, winadc01contoso.com. so you have to remove it from here. You have to remove the host name, host a record, okay, and after when you are done with the GUI metadata removal. So now since we are done with the GUI data removal, metadata removal, so let's move on to the NTDS metadata removal. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to go to the domain controller this. Okay, so before we perform the clean metadata cleanup from the CMD command prompt, let's shut down. This is my server 2008 machine, which is my ADC in the environment. So if I show you, it's a server 2008 R2. If I will show you this machine host name, so type the host name, which is winadc01, which I showed you in the primary domain controller which I have. If I go here in the server 2008 server 2012 R2, so you can see under the domain controller OU I got winadc01. Perfect. So let me shut down this machine first. Okay, so let me go here. Just assume that the server is completely dead. Okay, it's completely dead due to the hardware issue, and there is no chance that server will ever come up. So what we are going to do, we are going to clean up the metadata of the machine. Otherwise the another domain controller which are running, they would be continuously reporting the replication error. So what will be the replication error? Let me open the command prompt in the server 2012. Since we shut down the server 2008, which is my ADC, so let's type type cls to clear the command prompt, and then type here the rep admin space / ripple summary. Okay, there's something wrong with the command, so let me type it again. It's rep admin space / so ripple sum. Perfect. So you can take a screenshot. This is very important command. We very often use this command when we check the replication errors. Okay, we basically check the replication status in the environment. So there are other commands as well which are readily available on the Google itself, but when I'll record the session for the replication, I will be covering all of the commands. So here you can see the winadc01.contoso.com is not reachable. We are getting error 58, right guys? So you can see here, like the source DSC, the largest delta, this is largest delta means the time it took to replicate with another domain controller, which is Win 191. This is my same domain controller where I'm right now, server 2012 R2, and it got failure 0, total 5% 00 error, reported with no error, okay, because it was replicated from past 2 minutes ago, okay. This domain controller, they both are being replicated almost 2 minutes ago. So, and that is why they did not report, but this in the end of the screen it has been clearly mentioned or clearly showed that this domain controller having the communication problem, and there is a 58 error being logged. Okay, so we are good to demote the domain control, I mean not demote but metadata cleanup for this CMD command prompt. Okay, so let me rephrase what I explained till now. So what I did in the GUI mode, I showed you 3 places from where you can clear the metadata of any object if that object is permanently down. Suppose this domain controller is permanent down, and there is no chance that server will ever come or ever up. Okay, so in that case you either follow these three this GUI option and go to these 3 places and clear the entry of the server 2008 R2, which is your additional domain controller, and or else you go to the CMD and run some ntds util command to clear it from the CMD command prompt. So the first option I showed you. Let's move on to the CMD command prompt, like how we can do it from the command prompt for the metadata cleanup. So let me type cd / and then type cls, type here ntds util. It's integrated by default command line that is available for the Active Directory management. So if you can take a screenshot because it's very useful, and in the coming session, recording session, I would be using a lot this particular tool. Okay, so just a kind of FYI for you. So type here ntds util and then type metadata and then cleanup. Okay, metadata cleanup. Hit enter, and then we have to connect this command prompt to the server, the working server. It could be any in the environment, but since I got only one domain controller, which is my parent domain controller server 2012, so I'm going to connect that server itself. Okay, so type here connections, and then type enter, and then here you have to type connect, and then to server. Since my server name, this server name is very lengthy, so let me go here and copy the server, go to command prompt again and paste it here. Okay, so I connected to the server now. So what we need to do now is we need to quit. Type a quit. Okay, so now we again came to the metadata cleanup screen. So let's type help. Okay, let's see what all the commands we have available in the metadata switch. So type it here, and here you can see we have connection, we have help, quit, remove selected domain, remove selected naming context, remove selected server. So we are going to select the select operation target. This one we are interested. Okay, so just copy it and paste it over here in the metadata switch. Select operation target. So let's remove if there is any space. Let's hit enter. So now we are into the select operation target. So here we have to basically we are checking like how many domain controllers are there in the environment. Okay, so yeah, list, and then we have to type domains. So perfect. So when I'm saying how many domains means I'm not talking about the domain controller object. I'm talking about the child tree, right, in the environment. So right now I got only one DC, I got only one domain, which is my root domain. DC is equal to contours root, DC is equal to com, right? So just hang on, guys. So the result is we found only 0. I mean only 1. Okay, with the status 0. That means we have only one domain controller. So what we need to do is now, like, we need to select to domain, and then we have to type 0. So as soon as you put 0, it has been selected the domain partition. Okay, this is equal to control, so this is equal to com. So now we have to connect to the sites. Okay, so what we are going to do now is, so since we connected the domain partition, so we are going to connect the sites. Okay, so now here you have to type list, just a second, list sites. Okay, so again we got one site only, which is the default one in the configuration partition. So when I'm saying domain partition, configuration partition, guys, don't be confused. Okay, I would be covering in the separate session with your global partition, which we called GC partition, global catalog, your domain partition, your schema partition, your name, your domain name part, your domain partition, configuration partition, schema partition, and your application partitions. So, and configuration partition, I would be covering these partitions in the separate lecture. Okay, so don't you worry about it. So now we got only one site, so here we need to click on select and then type site and type the 0. If you got, like, if you have multiple sites, then there would be a numbering, right? Here if you can see my cursor, there would be numbering. So since I got only one site, so the numbering is 0. So every time if you wanted to select that particular site, then you have to mention this number. So let's type enter. Perfect. So we selected the sites as well. So now I'm interested to see, like, how many servers we have in this sites. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to type list and then servers in site. Okay, so let's type enter. So now you can see, so we got 0, which is this domain controller itself, right? And the another 1, you can see the number, right? It's a 0 1. This time it found two numbers, 0 and 1. So we are interested to remove the number 1 domain controller, which is WinADC01, because that server for which we are clearing the metadata. So always, guys, make sure and don't miss any steps, otherwise you would be end up with having lot of issues in the environment. Okay, so now we have to click on the select, then we have to type server. So we are going to we are clearing the metadata for server WinADC01. So the number which I'm going to mention is the 1. Okay, so perfect. So I selected this machine, this domain controller. If you can see, I selected this domain controller, right? WinADC, computer, DNS host, everything. I kind of selected selected WinADC, and I got these information pop up, like in this side this domain controller is, what is the domain name, what is the server name, what is server sites, the configuration distinguished for this server, and DSA object, and the sites, DNS host name, computer object, everything you would get populated over here once you select the server. So perfect. So since we selected the servers, right? We selected the server. Now we are going to kind of click on quit. We have to quit from the, since we selected all of the information, right? We selected the server, we selected the site, we selected the domain partition. So now we have to type quit. We again need to return to the metadata. So since we return to the metadata, so let's type help again. So why I'm repeatedly typing help? is just because of you to know like what all are the parameters are there under the metadata table. So once I click on help, so here we got remove selected server. You can see. So you need to copy this and then click here and paste this command. So once you paste this command, so it will immediately, as soon as I hit enter, it will immediately pop up me to give a permission kind of yes or no. As soon as I click on yes, it will in the backend it will start performing the metadata for that particular machine. In which in the quiz session, what we did, like we went to the different places to clear this object, right? But this is not going to be happen with the metadata from CMD. It will by default remove all of the entry from your environment, be it your domain controller OU, your site and services, your TNS entry. Everything will be removed. Okay. So let me kind of click on OK real quick. Perfect. So let's click on OK. Okay. So as soon as I click on enter, hit on enter, I got this pop-up, right? Are you sure you want to remove the server object? This is the CN, right? Distinguish of that server win ADC01. So here we are interested to do the metadata cleanup. So we need to click on yes. Wow. So you can see, right? So this object subtree under this has been deleted successfully. Okay, so metadata cleanup is continuing. All right. So there's some process going on, and here in the bottom of the message I can see removed from server this. So if I go to the domain controller OU real quick, if I refresh it here, this machine ADC, which is WinADC01, should be disappear now. See magic? Yeah. And let me go here, and if you can see there is no connection. If I click and reopen the site and services, this object must be disappeared from that place as well. Though it takes some time if you have a kind of big environment, but I don't have a big environment, but my laptop hardware is this laptop is very slow. So since you can see here we have NTDS for the working domain controller, we got NTDS setting, we got the connection generated for this machine. These all settings have been deleted, and it will take some time. Okay, and after which the WinADC01 will be completely removed and purged from the site and services. So hope I'm able to make you understand with overall concept of the metadata cleanup. There is a wonderful article from Microsoft. Let me open that for you so that if you need any more clarity on the metadata, you can refer that document. Okay. So metadata cleanup Microsoft. Okay, perfect. So here we have this clean up your server metadata using Active Directory users and computer. So both of the option is being mentioned over here. The first option is from GUI and the second option is from the command line. But you might not get the commands which I showed you, okay? And you might, like, if you use these commands, you would be getting the error. You won't be able to clear the metadata. So but what I'm suggesting you or recommending you to do that, go all of the description over here. Okay, all of the description, like how you can do from GUI till GUI, you read that, and after that if you are going to perform the command line metadata cleanup, then I would recommend you to use the command which I have been used in my lab. Okay, otherwise you gonna be encounter with multiple issues if you are using this command. Though I also use the same NTDS util, but our approach was totally different. So thank you once again for this coming to this channel. Uh, we have kind of completed the domain join and the metadata eventually. So in the second session, I would be covering the domain partitions. I mean, not the domain partition, but domain controller partitions. All of the four partitions we are going to cover and how they works, like what is the pass attribute, what is global catalog partition, and what if we get the lingering object in the global partition. Alright, so thank you again for coming to this channel. If you are new again, if you are new to this channel, I would encourage you to please go ahead and subscribe this channel. Share it with someone who really needs your help. And I would kind of request you to please follow the complete steps. Okay, if you are kind of new user to this channel, so and you are a kind of learner or wanted to become an expert of Active Directory, then I would request you to please go through the entire series from beginning to till. Okay, so you must have a very good understanding of the Active Directory, and later to that, as soon as I I record the session, you can go through those videos. So thank you very much once again, and have a great day, guys. Cheers. It was a kind of, I feel so good that I'm creating the video, and other people who wanted to learn, right? They are getting benefit from this. So I really feel appreciated and honored. All right, to create this kind of video content. So thank you very much, and hope somehow this recording session would help you. Have a great day, guys. Thank you very much.